We're here with W-1 President Jack Bateman. Jack, you got a pretty big card coming up next week, Judgment Day in Montreal, Quebec. You want to maybe run through what the highlights of the card are for us?
Well, we're headlined by Denis Kang. He's fighting Dae-Won Kim out of Korea. It's a really big fight for us because it's really introduced us to the Korean market, and we've actually exploded in that country. So we're really excited about that fight. Our co-headline is Thierry Quenneville, which is one of the best 145ers in the country. He's fighting for our 145 belt against John Fraser, and we have Steve Bossé, who had some licensing issues, who's back on that card now, which is probably the biggest draw in all of Montreal. He's fighting Michael Clark, who's coming out of California. We have George Brito, 2009 World No-Gi champion. We have Misha Serkinov, who's one of the next big things sort of coming up out of this circuit. We have Antonio Carvalho, who's a former number 4 145 pounder in the world. It's from top to bottom, solid card.
For sure. Now, if you had to pick one fight that you think is going to be, maybe not even one of the I guess the more recognizable names, what if you had to pick one that might be maybe a breakout fight of the event, who would it be?
You always have to watch for Josh Hill. This is a kid who's only got 3 fights under his belt. Super exciting kid. In his very first fight, when he debuted with us, he won Fight of the Night. He was a stellar wrestler, and in my opinion, that could be Fight of the Night.
Excellent. Now you've had guys like Shoney Carter fight for you in the past. You've had Carlos Newton fight for you in the past. Now Carlos is fighting, I guess, next month in Australia.
That's right. Yeah, we let him out there.
Yeah. Now, is there a plan to bring him back sometime before the end of the year here for one of your next shows?
Yeah, absolutely. Carlos will be fighting Mach Sakurai in September in Halifax.
Excellent. Now, how many more cards do you plan on having for the year?
We have two more for this year. We have one in September in Halifax, and then we're back in Montreal in November.
Okay. Now, so it sounds like you've already got the cards underway. Max Sakurai and Carlos. Who else have you got that has already been signed, I guess, for that fight? Or is there any, maybe one half of the equation, I guess, of some of the matches that you have in mind?
Yeah, well, we're going to be bringing back Sean Pearson, who's coming back to us again. He fought for us last June. He was signed by Bellator for that tournament. He was injured in that tournament, so he wasn't able to compete. So he'll be back fighting for us either in September or November. We have just a plethora of new guys. Xande Ribeiro. We have just a ton of new guys that we're bringing up and signing every day.
Excellent. Now, there's been some talk, I guess, with some other rival Canadian organizations that when Ontario is sanctioned, that they'll be the first ones in and they're going to take over this market. Now, I guess, what are your comments on the fact that this is your hometown? Toronto and Ontario is your home. This is where you've wanted to get for a while, and once it is sanctioned, what are your plans, and I guess what are your reaction to those types of I guess claims by other promotions?
Well, anybody can say what they want to say. They don't know anything more than I do, and in fact, probably I'll know first before they do that it's going to be legalized in Ontario. I think they said they booked some dates and stuff like that. It's all penciled in, but I just don't see how they could ever actually know a date. I don't know of a date. So if I was going to book a venue, I could say that, but then there's going to be no show. So really, it's just a bunch of hot air, to be honest with you. And if they want to come into our hometown, where we're the biggest show in the country, and they want to come in and take us on, then good luck to them. Competition makes for better shows.
For sure. And I think one of the things that's kind of made you stand out from a lot of promotions, especially Canadian promotions, and made you a draw for some of the bigger name Canadian fighters, at least, is the fact that the relationship that you maintain with the fighters and the way you treat them and everything. I think maybe that might give you an advantage over some of the other promotions coming in as far as where Ontario guys want to fight.
No, absolutely, and that's one of the other things is the Ontario guys are if another promotion is going to come into town that isn't the UFC or Strikeforce, they're going to have a hard time, just because we do have a relationship with everybody that is in Ontario already. And as far as our television coverage is concerned, there isn't anybody in Canada that comes within even 8 times of what we've got. So I think the guys know where they should be as far as trying to promote themselves.
Excellent. Anything else that you'd I guess you're at liberty to say now? I know you said before that you've had some big things on the horizon. Is there anything, I guess, breaking or anything that's working on right now that you can let us know about?
Well, we just signed with Tap Out Energy as our new title sponsor, so you're going to see Tap Out Energy everywhere we are. You're going to see the Tap Out Energy logo. Tap Out is an excellent brand for us to sort of join ourselves with. It's a very strong brand. I think it's going to do well in the energy market, and we're very excited about that. And just big things to come. We've got a new live streaming deal with Justin TV. That our shows are going to be streamed in high definition live on the internet. And we're looking at really solid numbers around the world with that, especially in our Korean and Japanese markets that are looking for these things. So yeah, there's lots to come. I can't really talk about all of them, obviously, but a lot of stuff on the horizon right now.
Excellent, sounds good. We're looking forward to the show next weekend and see what's next from W1 in the future.
We're excited. Thanks for having us.